Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
My favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.
Hey there everyone, it's Curly here. Very informal episode 97 of the Unfiltered, Undiscovered podcast. Me and the country music correspondent travelled down to Adelaide to catch up with...
It's the country hour with Big Stew.
And we're here to see Braggy, of course, and we saw a couple of wineries, a couple of breweries, and most of the things that we normally get up to. But we've also been playing around with some albums of Braggy's.
Well, we'd struggled to find what episode this was going to be because we knew it was going to be on the fly. We knew we were going to make it up as we went along. And I happened to find this book, which is the 100 best album covers. And so we just started talking about that. And we thought maybe we can start making an episode out of talking shit about album covers and the artwork.
Yeah. It started last night when we were just far too late in the proceedings.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
So we've sort of come back. It's afternoon. We've been to the Big Bang Brewery.
Up the road is a brewery from us.
Yeah.
We've sampled the wares.
Always open for sponsorship, Little Bang Brewery. Down here in Stepney in Adelaide.
Yep.
Yeah. So
beautiful drop.
So we don't know what this looks like, but we do know we want to do about 30 minutes, and we do want to talk about album art.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah. And I thought,
What's some of the defining things before we get stuck into it? What are some of the defining things, Stu and Braggy, that makes an album cover stand out?
well, I'm guessing it's like a wine label. You want it to stand out. I guess it's different nowadays because we're in the age of Spotify. So there's not a lot of. I guess they still do have artwork.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming, and I know from the old days when people were going to go and buy an album, they'd flick through the albums, and something would. Obviously, the cover's very important because the first thing you see it before you hear it, don't you?
Yeah.
Same with the wine, you see the label before you drink it. So I guess
So memories of flicking through.
Yeah, very much memories. It's always about memories, and that's what it's all for.
And I thought we'd start, Curly, with that's my assistant over there.
That's Mrs. Big Stew.
That's Mrs. Big Stew.
We've got Mrs. Curly behind the iPhone.
Correspondent's wife.
And we've got Mrs. Braithwaite Braggy. Yeah, over there. All right.
I thought we'd start with this because when we went down to my little studio there, you happened to see this, and this is the original artwork for the Blow Up Sweethearts album that my daughter Ruby did, and it comes out like this. I guess the other thing, Curly, is it has to kind of mean something as well. And so if you look at this, because the album was recorded on Maggie Island, Ruby's done all plant life that comes from Maggie Island. So she's got the frangipanis here. She's got some wattle. Kookaburras, you'll find them there. There's a curlew. You've also got the hibiscus. Not sure what that leaf is there, but it's something. And and this is like the Maggie Island shoreline.
Collector's item, isn't it?
It is.
Only how many in existence?
Left, or there's only 150 printed.
Only 150. So if you are looking to get a collector's item, Ruby Bragg's artwork.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, can I start?
Yeah, you go.
I want to start with an album that everyone loves, and Stone Age Romeos by the Guru.
1986?
86, debut album, just awesome, just exploded in that independent, grungy sort of a scene.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, some great little songs. I Want You Back, My Girl, Leilani. Just an amazing album is the Hoodoo Gurus.
Yeah.
But the big thing was about
Yeah, tell me.
the second album, and unfortunately I just lost my assistant over this side. So their second album was called Mars Needs Guitars, and the thing that stood out with Stone Age Romeos was that whole cartoon feel, wasn't it? It was a bright yellow, it had the big dinosaur on it, had all sorts of cartoon characters all around it.
Yeah.
And they continued the theme
Yeah.
with Mars Needs Guitars. And this was their second album, Like Wow, Wipeout, Bittersweet's on there, Poison Pen, Death Defying, some of those real classic
Learn all
Guru
those when I was in
songs.
the cover bands.
And what's interesting is in the liner art, which we all love, they have got a dedication here to Jonathan Harris. So do you
Is
know
he the
who-
art guy?
No, he was Dr. Smith from Lost in Space.
Oh.
So how's that for a little bit of a
That's
twist, yeah?
crazy.
So they also had here, thanks to such cultural icons as the Way Outs, which was a faux sort of Beatles band from the 1965 Flintstones episode. So that's just cool.
Yeah.
That's just cool. That's the Gurus all over again. Just a great little album. I don't know, what sort of art style is that?
It reminds me a lot of
Impressionist?
Reg Impressionist. No, it's not Impressionist.
Okay.
It's probably more like
Percussionists?
it's probably more like Salvador Dali, surrealist,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So, but it reminds me of Reg Bombassa from how
From
he,
the Mentals,
yeah. What was? I'm trying to think of the name.
Yeah.
Mad Dog. No, what was the name of his?
Yeah,
company?
I know the one.
They did the surf stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's mine that I'm going to talk through. Mars Needs Guitars, all done. All right.
Yeah.
So Mars Needs Guitars.
Mars Needs Guitars. Oh, now the magical hand has just passed me another album. I don't really know a lot about this. This is
Thing.
Joe Jackson. The Thing. It's Joe Jackson. What do you think about this artwork on here? I'm going to tell you a little bit about
It's
it while
very
we hold it.
simplistic, isn't it?
It's very simplistic.
Yeah. Just a dark sort of, the white shoes are standing out. Did you ever wear white shoes, Braggy?
Yeah, I wore white shoes.
Did,
Hell yeah. It used to come in that size. It was good.
is she really going?
It says here about this album, Joe Jackson, he says, I just bought these white shoes at the time. I wanted everything to be in black and white. Anyway, it was Brian Griffin's idea to take a picture of the shoes. I think my first reaction was, you must be joking, closely followed by, all right then, what the hell? I'm not sure if I ever particularly liked the cover or thought that it represented the music. It's hard to be objective about these things. You make a record, you put it out, and then it's like a teenager leaving home.
Ah,
It has to make
Never to
its
be
own.
seen
It has to
again.
make its own way in the world and find out where it belongs.
how cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were singing that song last night. We were breaking that song down. Is she really going out
Yes.
with him? So
That's cool.
that's on that album.
One of the other ones we talked about, guys, was the Rolling Stones
Yeah.
album cover.
We actually talked
Sticky Fingers. Thank you, Hand.
a couple of the Stones albums, but
We
this
did.
was the centerpiece.
Yeah.
Because we had to put some graphite in the pencil.
We had to put some lead in the pencil here, and it's such a bit of a metaphor for this album because this is actually a real zipper. And when it first came out, it damaged the records, a lot of it. So the later copies only came out with it was just all cardboard. It didn't have the actual zip. Yesterday, Stewie, who's not only the country correspondent but he's also
The handyman.
the zipper, told me to put some, because this never went down, he told me to put some graphite on it. And now look,
It goes down
she goes down. And if you would open it up,
very
you can
carefully.
see. Yeah, so this was designed by Andy Warhol. Apparently they were at a party, Mick Jagger was at a party, and Andy Warhol suggested, why don't we do a picture of some jeans?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Back
And I
to-
guess the name of the album too, Sticky Fingers, it's kind of all a little bit
Yeah.
rude, really, isn't it?
It is. It's just a bit. Yeah. Awesome. But great album.
Oh, mate, that's one of their greatest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
there we
what do
go.
you think about this one? I didn't talk about this, Curl. This is you're
this
the
is
punk correspondent.
this is certainly not on Stewie's country music roundabout anytime soon. Although we did try a lounge version last night of Pretty Vacant, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. See, it mustn't have been too
That's
bad.
actually another thing I
There you
can
go.
teach on guitar.
I'm in.
The Pretty Vacant riff.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a great
Let's
riff.
do
But How symbolic is this album?
Well, it's a classic.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
I don't know too much
Yeah,
about the art.
I don't know too much about the art either, but you can see it's like, you know how in the
It's the old.
in those murder thrillers
Kidnapper.
where the kidnapper, he's cut out the papers, they don't know he's writing and stuff. That's what it's
Yeah.
like, isn't it?
It is. Never mind bollocks. It's probably the first time the word bollocks ever appeared
Yeah, I think there was
on
a
an
bit of-
album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the Sex
Very
Pistols.
controversial songs like
Pretty Vacant.
God
God
Save
the Queen.
the Fascist Regime.
Mate, how Anarchy in the UK.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Well, there you go.
stands out. Couple of revisits on masters and remixes on that as well have come out, but the album stays the same. I think there's a couple of different colours
Yeah.
of it.
I love the cover of this next one.
Okay.
I love who it is.
Ooh.
And I
Sharp.
mean, think about like it's just.
I'll show
I
it to
don't know
Oh.
if it's actually been doctored, the actual photo, but just the sharp lines.
Yeah,
like you
it's
say.
just sharp.
It's
Very
all
sharp.
angular, and she is very angular.
Waxy would have
she?
loved the sharp lines. Waxy,
The
Would he?
straight lines. He would have
Yeah,
liked the straight
he
lines.
would
But
have.
how?
Striking.
Like, isn't that an
It's
amazing
beautiful.
photograph?
It is beautiful.
And of course, Grace was about 6'5", I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
She was a giant of a
Big
woman.
lake.
Dominant.
Yeah. And
She would have scared
that's
a
some
lot
classics
of people.
on there, like "Pull Up to My Bumper, Baby."
Oh,
I think it's on that album.
It is. Yes.
And I'm wondering if I could find something about that album
Yeah.
to tell you, maybe, Curly.
so Walking in the Rain. That's probably her most. Well, most people would know that.
I'm
song
pretty
from
sure
Grace.
that song too, "Walking in the Rain."
Walking in the Rain. Such a.
Is it on there?
yeah, it is.
Yes,
It's a
you
masterclass of a song.
Can you tell me who wrote that? I'm pretty sure it's going to be Young and. Pretty sure it's the Easy Beats Boys.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
could be wrong.
Does it say it?
Vander and Young.
Vander and Young. How about that?
There
Did you
we
know
go.
that? Written by Vander and Young.
Wow, Rossi.
Rossi, you gotcha? Rossi's probably going, I know it's written by them.
Vander, I didn't know that. That's awesome. But that's a great album cover. 81 that came out.
81?
Yeah.
And I can't find anything about it, so
That's all right.
we'll just forget about that.
So lead
Most
and
of it-
backing vocals.
Yeah.
Barry Reynolds was guitar. Michael Chung. Robbie Shakespeare was there. So
It says here, artist and photographer Jean-Paul Goudet first saw Grace Jones at a New York gay club called Les Mooches. Intrigued by her bare-breasted performance of I Need a Man, to a gaggle of ecstatic men, he says that she was exactly what I had been looking for all these years. Not just a pretty model, but a fresh face, a demi-goddess. Black, shiny, her face something more than just pretty. It was more like an African mask. True.
Wow.
and going back to another time, Warrior for sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
All right.
Now, this is a Led Zeppelin album. Thank you, Han. What do you notice about this album, Tony? Presence by Led Zeppelin.
Do you know this album, Stu?
No, I don't.
It's one of their last ones.
It seems to be a bit of a real estate ad from the 1960s.
But have a look at this. What the hell is that? Now, does that remind you of 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they got the obelisk at the start?
I was just
You know what I'm saying? You say the same thing. Yeah, I think that's
That's
yeah.
the mobile obelisk that everyone would have
Yeah,
had.
and I'm pretty sure it's in here as well, if I'm right.
There it is.
There you go. See?
Is it on every page? Oh, there.
There.
Wow. so
And
there's a
weird
thing
photographs like of everyday.
with the obelisk.
Yeah. So I don't really know anything about it. And there's the back there.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
We're being directed from behind, so every now and again, if we look, sort of-
The producer.
yeah, funny, strange. What songs are on that one?
You got the album there.
I don't have the songs on it.
It'll be on the inside.
Achilles' Last Stand, For
Yeah,
Your Life,
there you
Royal
go, that's
Orleans,
massive.
all good. Okay,
Presence. Just a little bit about that.
yeah.
The title came after the design and referred to the overwhelming presence of Led Zeppelin's music, the presence of the black object in everyday life, and an ironic play on the fact that, technically speaking, the object is absent. The type on the cover is embossed, hardly present at all.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so it's good.
I got another Led Zeppelin one,
This one's
and I'm gonna do this one if I can with this one here.
Okay,
Thank you, hand. You
so
hold that one.
I'll get Stewie to hold that one.
Right. It's just, this is another feature on some of the artwork on albums. You got a movable thing. Now this is my old original copy, and it's stuffed. You can see it's the Rolling Stones, Some Girls, and when you pull it out, you can change their faces. See what I mean? And it's got some of the Stones' faces on there, and also some other famous people. I feel that Lucille Ball is in there, maybe Marilyn Monroe. I'm not sure. So that's like another little cool feature. And you know, it was only the big bands that ever did stuff like that because it was so expensive to do. And then the Led Zeppelin one is similar. Houses of the Holy. Not Houses of the Holy. Physical Graffiti, sorry.
The white paper comes out.
Oh, I haven't done it. Is that? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Does that. And if you look on the back, it's the same sort of deal here.
It's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How's that?
Yeah. Now it's interesting you said only the big bands did that because the Johnnies did that for their debut album.
Did they?
Highlights of
Well, there you go.
Dangerous Life.
So that wasn't definitely a big band. What
and,
did they have?
and it was just a face of the guy on the horse, and you could slide it to have.
I had one little thing.
The different band members. So Johnnies, you're a big band.
Awesome.
They're still going around.
I've got one more Led Zeppelin one.
The Johnnies are mostly known for their drinking.
Yes.
I mean, every person.
Even Rossi told us that, didn't he?
Every
It's a party
person
band.
we've spoken to said, "Oh, they don't drink as much as the Johnnies."
No, that's right.
It's like there's this standard that's been set in Australian music. You're a half a Johnny, or
Like Booney on the cricket. The Johnnies are the standard.
yeah, absolutely.
I picked this one out, Curly, because another feature that album started to do is to have it's the gatefold, and so you get that, but you get the whole
Picture.
picture like that.
Yeah.
So I really love that.
And interestingly, when you talk about that, I was looking at Beastie Boys. Licensed to Ill.
the same thing.
Same thing. So on the front side, you've got the back end of a plane, and on this side, you've got it smashing into a mountain.
That's
or a
right. I think
building.
I've got that here.
So
Another classic
Yeah.
album cover.
So it's a real challenge to the eye when you realise that it's the gatefold.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
All right.
that's a good one. What was on that one? I don't know. I've got the album.
Here's a classic.
Oh, wow.
Now I don't know if maybe later in post production, Curly, you can find the picture of the Elvis
Yeah,
album. That
I
was,
will. I will. This is one of my
favourites. You talk about this one.
Oh no, well you can talk about the album art, but I loved this album, double album. Lyrics are on there. How many times I just read this as I listened to it. This album ended up at one of my previous girlfriend's place when I first left school,
Yeah.
and I never saw it again.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll come and get it one day, Adele.
Oi. Okay.
Go to England to get it.
I'm surprised you're talking about previous when your lovely wife is behind
Oh,
the camera.
she's just laughing.
I was going to try and find something about this, but I can't, as usual.
I read somewhere that Joe actually didn't like the cover picture, Joe Strummer.
Right.
He thought it was a bit blurry, and I think that's where maybe the idea came for the lettering. Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not that I'm an expert, but I can recall something like that.
Okay, well, it says here that they copied the Elvis cover. So there's a famous one of Elvis's early albums here. You can see there, camera woman. And so the Clash have pretty much just copied that. Well, we can see the actual real thing there.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he's smashing the bass.
very clever.
There you go.
There was a lot of bands around that time that used to, I mean, you'd have the news on every now and again, and there'd always be some new band. I can remember The Who. I think Kiss did it once, and all these news readers were saying, what a bad...
Smashing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, that all started from Pete Townsend of The Who.
Yeah.
He played at a small club. Was doing these big things, lifted the thing up, it was a really low ceiling, and the top of his guitar hit the thing and broke, and he got so angry he just smashed the rest of the guitar. And then the crowd just went nuts, and so then the rest of the band said, well, listen, you're going to have to do that again. And so he would just break his guitar, and then eventually Keith Moon, thought, oh, this is great, so he would then kick his drums over at the same time, and they'd do called a ride every time. And apparently the story goes that they had run up a £25,000 bill from music stores. Yeah. They would just go and get a guitar, never bring it back. and because they hadn't had a real big hit until then. So I'm assuming eventually they did pay it back. Yeah. Okay, classic album, and it's another one of those gatefolds. Like, this has got to be one of the classic albums of all time.
Dark Side of the Moon.
See that? But this not only folds out like this, but it also goes around and it keeps going on the inside. How awesome is that? And such a simple design. I mean,
it's classically simple.
Nothing to do with the dark side of the moon, I wouldn't think. It's just refraction of light.
I'm pretty confident there's no rainbows on the dark side of the moon.
Dark side of the room.
Yeah, there either.
Okay, I think we got a couple to go. How are we going for time?
We got a good time.
Okay.
Yeah. So good.
Now this one, I didn't pick this one. My lovely wife picked this one, and so.
Do you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think why can you just talk from the other side of the thing. And that is a no. So I bet my wife likes this album because she said it reminds her of an Andy Warhol painting, like I guess the Marilyn Monroe one. And she also really loves the album. I guess it's done with just the blue light. I guess this part here is the end where he's kind of painted the end of the cigarette. I don't know who's done it. I don't know who the art person is.
Blue shade, yeah.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah. Reminds me a little bit of some of the Smiths albums that they put out.
Yeah,
you know, Big Mouth Strikes Again. Just a very glamorous sort of a style around them. So broken English. Marianne Faithfull was pretty cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. So.
Okay, the last one I think we've got here. I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah. Who is it?
Biggest band? No, some little band from Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, no one had done an album like this before, and I think no one had paid that much to get the album made. They'd had to cut out all these. The poor old management had to phone all these people up that they were going to make sure it was okay for them to be on there, and some of the people
use the images.
Yeah, some of the people, like I can't remember exactly who it was, but some of the people said, "Oh yeah, you can put my image on there, but you have to pay me like $10,000." And they just went, "Well, don't worry about that." And just chose somebody else. Yeah, so there's like Mae West. I think there's Rock Hudson. Loads of people. I think Ravi Shankar was on there, and I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, Rossi will probably tell me if I am. I think this is one of the first albums ever to have all the words on it. From the 60s, the albums usually just had, a little blurb about what the band was like.
Yeah.
So, there you go. There's Mae West on there. We've got the Beatles. Here we've got Michael Cooper. Oh, so that's like Aleister Crowley. He was like the psychedelic sort of guy.
Yeah. I sort of regret asking for payment for being featured on the album too. So
when you were
like
two. Yeah. The other cool thing about this album
parents were a bit greedy,
that people started to do was they put this little fun thing in here where you got to get a little moustache that you could cut out and stick up on your nose there. See the little hooks? And they had these little Sgt. Pepper's badges that you could put on. A little pop-up thing of the boys. You could cut out the stripes and put them on your thing like that. So that had never been done before. I'm so happy that is still in that copy.
Worth a monster, I believe.
A little bit. Well,
Excellent. So, I hope you like that.
yeah. Any country albums you think should be on there?
Nah,
No.
no country albums for this lot.
It's normally just like a picture of a guy in a hat, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
A long
on the
road,
back of a truck.
dog.
Yeah.
With a dog.
A pickup truck.
Or be the grass in his mouth, a big farm field behind.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
Mind you, we did.
Oh, he's got a
listen-
guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, we listened to a bit of country last night, didn't we?
I love it.
And it was Braggy's playlist. So.
Yes, it was awesome.
Yeah, but and the other big news is that Stewie's actually mastered a couple of chords.
Shuey is, he's, after the drummer jokes last night,
Yeah.
Shuey's given up the drums, he's taken up guitar.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
All
He's already
over.
got Smoke on the Water down, and later tonight's going to be pretty vacant.
Yeah.
Bong,
So
bong,
yeah,
bong.
so thanks so much for joining in on this episode. We'll be back next week with the regular co-host Rossi and Braggy and Curly. As always, we're on Facebook, TikTok. Haven't posted on TikTok for a while.
And have you got a saying at the end?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
I just
I like
haven't
it.
got one right at
Oh.
this moment in time.
Ah,
And
Post
we-
edit. Post edit.
But yeah, so wherever you're listening to this, like, subscribe, leave a review. Yvette Braithwaite Bragg did as well today, so we've now got one more new review.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a 1 star. She doesn't like us, but anyway.
Big thanks to
Big-
big thanks to Mrs. Curly for doing the camera, and thanks to Mrs. Big Stew for the hand.
All right, see you all again next week.
It's late at night, the lights are low. Jeff Buckley's on the stereo, and the smell of summer rains in your perfume. Lightning sprawls across the sky. Jeff says it's a last goodbye, but we just keep on dancing round the room.
I got a feeling that everything is falling into place. 'Cause now I know the meaning of eminence, elegance, dignity, and grace.
I look back at the time we've spent, place to place, rent to rent. All that moving makes a life, I guess. There's you and me, and 1 makes 3, and that only rhymes with family. How could one person be so blessed?
I wanna thank you for painting all the smiles on my face. I wanna thank you for tolerance, sufferance, selflessness, and grace.
Saturday we're on the move. George Michael's got us in the groove. As a valley full of vines goes rushing by. The sun smells down from above. George says he wants a fast love, but I could live this day for all my life.
I get to dreaming I could be in another time and space. It's when I start believing in honesty, loyalty, fidelity, and grace.
Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Punters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music, and you're listening to our friends Braggy and Curly.
My favorite fans from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.